Moving on to the usual ones and player reviews. We saw the Nottingham Forest boys unfortunately have a very, very bad result over the weekend. They had the opportunity to go back into the Champions League spots if they'd beaten Leicester City at home. And this is also an East Midlands derby. Nottingham Forest and Leicester are big rivals. But guess what? Nottingham Forest somehow drew 2-2 to Leicester City. Leicester City have found their shooting boots again. Olaino got back from injury, so he played in this game. He got a yellow card, but pretty decent performance. Annoyingly in this game though, Taiwo Awoniyi came on in its third minute and he almost scored, but the ball wasn't played well to him and he ended up colliding with the post. You could tell he was badly injured, but there was a miscommunication with the medical team who made it seem like Taiwo Awoniyi was fine. So what then happened is they brought on Jota Silva and took off Elliot Anderson, but in reality they should have taken on Taiwo Awoniyi because they basically left themselves short. So Taiwo Awoniyi had to play stoppage time, which had 10 minutes added on, and they basically were playing a man short. You know, what then happened at the end of the game led to the owner, Angelos Marinakis, who also owns Olympiacos, where Onyemachi plays, storming onto the pitch to have a chat with Nuno Espirito Santo. The good news is he did come back and mention on Instagram that he's proud of Nottingham Forest and their achievement because they've officially qualified for Europe for the first time since 1995. So 30 years, you know, which is a big achievement for Nottingham Forest, who only narrowly escaped relegation last season. So, you know, still very, very good performance for them. Champions League looks like it would not. It's a bridge a bit too far when you look at their last two fixtures. I know they played Chelsea on the last day, but they really needed Newcastle and Chelsea to draw. You know, I really don't want Newcastle to make Champions because of Isaac, but honestly, that 2-0 that they beat Chelsea, it looks like he might have just sealed their fate. But anyway, Arsenal, we're playing Newcastle next, so at least let's humble them small at the Emirates and see how it goes. But anyway, we wish Taiwo Awoniyi speedy recovery, and let's see if Nottingham Forest can still do their best to try to get into the Champions League. Their next game will be away against West Ham United, who of course beat Manchester United yesterday. We know they're playing Europa League final, but let's be honest, Tottenham and Man United, you have disgraced the Premier League. 16th and 17th at this stage of the season. Oh God, it is really, really well. Anyway, moving on to Alex Iwobi and Kavibasi. They both played in Fulham's 3-1 loss to Everton at home. Let's just say Fulham are on holiday. They're in that sweet spot of the season where they're too far ahead of the bummy teams, but they're too far away from the teams trying to get into Europe. Them, Brentford, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. Those are the four teams coming into my mind. Wolverhampton. There's those five teams where they're on the beach basically, man. Let these lads off. Let them go to Marbella and have a good time, you know. So anything you see from Fulham between now and the end of the season, just take it like that, man. They're on vibes now. And they're going to play another vibes team, Brentford away on Sunday. So look out for that game at 3 p.m. Wolverhampton also played this game. The Nottingham Forest held and played against Leicester in a 2-2 draw. So, you know, he's going to play Ipswich at home on Sunday. I hope it's his last game at King Power Stadium. He served them gracefully and excellently for 8 seasons, if not 9 seasons. Yes, we know he's a British citizen now. He has gotten all the benefits, even got a degree, man. Shout out to Frank Didi. He's gotten all these good things in England, but I think it's time for him to move on because Ndidi should not be playing championship football. I'm so sorry. But anyway, what do I know? We shall see what he ends up doing. Joe Aribo, on the other hand, played 45 minutes while Polonarachi was on the bench in Southampton's 0-0 draw against Manchester City. Pretty surprising result. I thought they would get battered. What it means is Southampton now have 12 points, which ensures that they have beaten the all-time Hall of Shame record which Derby County set in the 2007/2008 season of 11 points. Southampton are officially no longer the worst team in Premier League history. So good. I mean, the bar is literally on the floor, but for Southampton, like, you know, it's still something decent for them. So shout out to them for at least doing that. And let's see how they get on when they play Everton away on Sunday. Other results to be aware about in the Premier League: Brighton beat Wolverhampton 2-0 away. Wolves are on holiday, as I told you, but Brighton clearly still want to play some football. Brentford beat Ipswich Town 1-0. Aston Villa beat Bournemouth 1-0, with Ollie Watkins becoming the all-time top goal scorer for Aston Villa in the Premier League, going above Gabi Agbola. Newcastle beat Chelsea 2-0, as I already mentioned. I think Nicholas Jackson was a bit unlucky, to be honest. We've seen those kind of challenges a lot, and he didn't mean no harm. We've seen Bruno Guimaraes do the same thing a lot, but anyway, I don't support Chelsea. I hate any team in Premier League that's not Arsenal, so it is what it is. Chelsea, Champions League is looking tough. But anyway, they play Man United next, so at the very least, they should be able to win that game. Also, as I said, West Ham beat Man United 2-0. Crystal Palace bumped Tottenham 2-0. Ebere Eze with a brace. Ebere Eze has 12 goals for the season. I was a bit surprised to see that. You know, he has 7 in the Premier League, but he's really stepped up in the FA Cup. So he's had his best goal-scoring season of his career so far with 12. And this is a player, let's be honest, he's better than Crystal Palace. But maybe he likes being a big fish in a small pond like Moses Simon. I don't know. But let's see what happens in the summer there, because that guy's a player, man. In fact, I wouldn't even mind him at Arsenal as one of our bench options. But anyway, those were the results for the week. And of course, yesterday, we saw the champions Liverpool host my beloved Arsenal. First half, they battered us, man. 2-0. Like, honestly, I was just watching the match with one eye. But second half, shout out to my boys. You know, we stepped up. Gabriel Martinelli, centre forward. I don't know why Arteta did not try it once all season. Martinelli was excellent, man. He kept trying to make these runs, which, of course, ODG was not seeing him as usual. So no surprise there. But Martinelli with an excellent header. And then Odegaard somehow remembered how to shoot over these last week. That is shot that Donnarumma saved in the Champions League exit. I didn't see it coming, though. And then the shot against Alisson. Alisson had to tap it to the bar, and then Merino, number 9, just headed it into the net. Unfortunately, he got a red card because I thought the momentum was with us, and we could have easily ended up winning the game. But you know what? It is what it is. We'll take the 2-2 draw, we'll dust ourselves off, and we go again next season. Games to be aware about coming. If you play FPL, there's Friday night football this week. We'll do your FPL before Friday. Aston Villa hosts Tottenham. 7:30 kickoff, big game for the Champions League runs. Chelsea also hosts Man United, big game for the Champions League runs. Also, Tottenham and Man United are being allowed to play on Friday simply because next week, Wednesday, is the Europa League final, and Tottenham did not want to give Man United an advantage, so they requested to the Premier League to move their game with Aston Villa from the weekend to Friday so they can have ample time to prepare for the big final, which one of those teams is going to end up just being lucky this season. It's going to literally whitewash all their rubbish in the Prem. But the team that loses, we will be there. Since people want to clown us now for finishing second, you don't realize that it's the person who face me, I face you, that wants to clown somebody inside mansion. It don't work like that, but we'll be there. Anyway, on Sunday, there's no football on Sunday because on Saturday because it's the FA Cup final. So good luck to Crystal Palace or Manchester City. So we'll see a bunch of games on Sunday, including Everton hosting Southampton, the final game ever at Goodison Park before they move into their 60,000-seater stadium. So Everton are a team to watch because that could be a game changer for their projection as a club anyway. West Ham play Nottingham Forest on Sunday 2 at home. Brentford hosts Fulham in a London derby, West London derby. Leicester hosts Ipswich Town, their last Premier League game before they go back to the Championship. Hopefully, I really want Jimmy Vardy to see if he could get to 200 goals. I think that would be amazing. He has 199 goals for Leicester, so watch that space. Arsenal will then play Newcastle at the Emirates, 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, and then Brighton hosts Liverpool in the Monday night football kickoff, 8 p.m. We will then see the 2 finalists in the FA Cup play their games next midweek, so Tuesday and Wednesday, on Tuesday. So Crystal Palace host Wolverhampton, and then we'll see Man City host Bournemouth on Tuesday. League table, there's not much to talk about in terms of first or second. Just know that Newcastle have 66 points, Man City have 65 points, Chelsea and Aston Villa have 63 points, and Nottingham Forest have 62 points. So out of those 5 teams, 2 of them are going to be very, very disappointed to play in the Europa League, and 3 will be very happy come the end of the season. So watch this space. As I said already, Man U and Tottenham are the 2 teams above the 3 already relegated teams. They have not yet reached 40 points with 2 games to go. Man United have 39 points, 17 losses, while Tottenham have 38 points and 20 Premier League losses. They've lost more games. They've lost more than half their Premier League games. I mean, dumb and dumber. I don't even know why I even want to win the Europa League final, but it's not my business anyway. I have bigger fish to fry. So that's it in terms of the Premier League review. Serie A, as I said already, Ademola Lookman is currently playing his halftime 1-1 against Roma. Great performance already. And then the next game begins Genoa away on Sunday. Speaking of Genoa, by the way, I know they drew against Napoli, but there's a 16-year-old kid called Honest Ahano. He scored the equalizer for Genoa. He was born and raised in Italy, but you know our Nigerian men, they go all over the world. He's eligible for Nigeria. So monitor this space. Let's see how his development goes. Also, Fisayo Dele-Bashiru was in action for Lazio over the weekend in a 1-1 draw against Juventus. There was one shot he took where the team is breaking. It's almost like a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1. And all he needs to do is try and square his teammate. And the player on the right wing, he then tried to shoot the ball towards the post. And the goalkeeper turned it out for a corner. And I'm thinking to myself, Fisayo, you can't be doing these things when you're still on loan from a Turkish club. Like, Lazio are not seeing that move and thinking, wow, we need to side this boy. But you could tell he was just eager to score. So I just wanted to call that out. But hopefully he continues to play some minutes, especially when they play Inter Milan away on Sunday. We've already spoken about Chukwueze's exploits, but he will be in action on Wednesday in the Coppa Italia final. So good luck to him. And then AC Milan play Roma away on Sunday. Maduka Okoye, on the other hand, played 90 minutes as Udinese somehow lost to the worst team in Serie A, Monza, who are already relegated. They lost 2-1 at home. Next up for them, they play Juventus away. So we wish Okoye a very, very good game. Also, Taranibue, he's Empoli. He was back on the bench for Empoli in their 2-1 win over Parma on Saturday. They're now level on points with Lecce on 28 points. They're in the relegation zone based on goal difference, but unfortunately for them, Venezia won today. Let me just confirm that Venezia result, because when I checked, they were 2-1 up. So that's not good for Empoli. Yeah, Venezia won somehow. So Venezia are now on 29 points. Empoli are on 28 points with Lecce, the 18th and 19th. And basically, two of those teams are going down Serie B. So Empoli needs some good luck when they play Monza, who are already relegated, next week, Sunday. In the Bundesliga, final games of the season are this Saturday. Nathan Teller continues to start games for Leverkusen. He started as they lost 4-2 to Borussia Dortmund at home. Obviously, they also confirmed this week that Xabi Alonso will be leaving to go to Real Madrid. But it was nice to see the kind of send-off that they gave him, because he's changed their life. This is a club that had not won any titles in their history, and they won the Bundesliga as well as the German Cup last year. And if not for Adi Bobo on the 22nd of May last year, he would have won a treble. So shout out to Xabi Alonso, shout out to Leverkusen. Unfortunately, Boniface is on new sub yet again. I'm not sure what's going on there, but see why you have to be humble. Football is a very interesting sport. The way it could change year on year. All of a sudden, Boniface is frozen out. He's not playing games. The person that he benched last season, Patrick Stick, is literally the second or third top goal scorer in the Bundesliga now. But hopefully, with a new manager coming in, we've heard rumors that it may be Cesc Fabregas because of the amazing job he's done at Como. So watch this space. But Boniface needs a big, big season next year. So watch out for that one. Franco Yeka continued to start games, but unfortunately for Oberg, they got thrashed 4-0 by Stuttgart on Sunday. They're also on holiday. They're 11th. They've got nothing to play for the rest of the season. And their final game against Union Berlin at home on Saturday. Gift Urban is currently out with an ankle injury for Hoffenheim and may keep him out till June, while Kevin Akpoguma played 90 minutes as Hoffenheim drew 2-2 against Wolfsburg on Friday. Next up for them, they play the champions Bayern Munich to end the season at home. This could be very interesting because Hoffenheim are 3 points above Heidenheim, who are in 16th place for the relegation playoff position in Germany. Now, Hoffenheim are 6 plus 6 goal difference off better than Heidenheim. So it's unlikely that Heidenheim would overtake them. But Heidenheim have a game against Werder Bremen. And let's be honest, Bayern Munich could just decide to turn on the taps, celebrate their wins. So there's a world where Hoffenheim could still be in big trouble. But for the sake of our boys, I'm hoping that would not be the case. And we'll see the boys back in the Bundesliga next season. As I always tell you, the more players we have playing in the top 5 big leagues, the better for us. Nigeria, we're too arrogant we have a lot of players playing top 5 leagues. In fact, probably the most in Africa, alongside maybe like a Senegal. But the way people talk sometimes, you'd think we have even more. There's all mentioning PFL. Please, I want them to all be in the top 5 leagues in Europe. That's the best leagues objectively. Let them play there. Stop all this rubbish. So, fingers crossed they'll remain there. In La Liga, Xanth Uche served the final game of his 3-match ban over the weekend. Getafe lost 3-0 to Valencia. Valencia, what a season they're having. I'll touch on them really, really soon. It was Getafe's 5th loss in a row. They lost all 3 games to Xanth Uche. Next up for them, they play Athletic Bilbao at home on Thursday before they play Mallorca away on Sunday. Getafe need one more win just to ensure safety, but I'm sure Xanth Uche will be chomping at the bits to play these games. And I'm sure as long as everything is correct to everybody's head, he should be in that squad for the Unity Cup. So watch this space. As for Omar Sadiq, he was benched over the weekend, but it didn't matter too much because Valencia thrashed Getafe 3-0, which I already mentioned. Valencia are now somehow 11th. There's even a world where they could make Europe. That's how good their form has been over the past 2 months. So shout out to Omar Sadiq. He needs to take some credit for that as well. Next up for them, they play Deportivo Alaves away on Wednesday. There's La Liga games on Wednesday. And then they play Athletic Bilbao at home on Sunday. Valencia are 2 points below Rayo Vallecano, who are 8th, and 4 points behind Celta Vigo, who are 7th. That 7th spot in La Liga is in the Europa League, and that 8th one is in the Conference League, because La Liga get 5 spots in the Champions League next season. And also, Real Madrid and Barcelona both played the Copa del Rey final, which means that there's no team outside of the top 7 that could have been given a place in Europe. What then that means is 6th and 7th play Europa League, 8th play Conference League. Imagine Valencia, who were 20th in December, end up in Europe. I would love to see it. So watch this space. As for Chidera Ejuke and Sevilla, they continue to slide, boy. Sevilla now 16th. Ejuke played 5 minutes in Sevilla's 3-2 loss to Celta Vigo on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Las Palmas, who are in the relegation zone, on Tuesday. And then Sevilla play Real Madrid at home on Sunday. We know Real Madrid will be itching to set the record straight. Sevilla are 4 points above the relegation zone. One more win should ensure their safety, to be fair to them. Although they haven't won a game since the 9th of March. So that's well over 2 months. I was not 32 at that point. I'm 32 now. That's how long ago it's been. So fingers crossed, and hopefully Ejuke can get back in the good books of the manager. In League One, all their final games of the season will be played at 8 p.m. on Saturday. This is a long one, but we're running up the season, so not too many more episodes to bring before the summer break. Moses Simon played again for Nantes. They 1-1 draw against Auxerre on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Montpellier at home on Saturday. A draw ensures their safety from the relegation playoffs, and Moses Simon is one to monitor in the summer, as I always mention. Hafiz Ibrahim's Reims, he played 15 minutes as Reims lost 2-0 to Saint Etienne on Saturday. They end their season away against Lille. A draw will ensure their safety too, so I think they'll be fine there, and we should see Hafiz get a lot more game time next season. George Kenna on Yusof for Monaco again. I don't know what he's done to them in the last few weeks, but clearly something's not going right with his development, or maybe his attitude. I don't want to speculate. But Monaco did win 2-0 over Lyon to secure their Champions League spot. We want as many Nigerians playing Champions League, so good to see that he'll be back next season. Their last game is against Lens, but that's just a formality. As for Lille, Chubakbon played 57 minutes as Lille lost 2-0 to Brest on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Reims at home on Saturday. All to play for Lille, to be honest. They're level on points with Nice, who are 4th, and also Strasbourg, who are 6th. 4th place secures the Champions League qualification playoffs in France. So the playoffs. 2nd and 3rd are Marseille and Monaco. They qualify directly to the Champions League, but 4th will play a playoff. So it's very, very important. 5th secures Europa, and 6th secures Conference League qualification. So all to play for Lille, and we wish Chubakbom all the best. Gabriel Ocho was a new sub for Auxerre in the 1-1 draw against Nantes. Next up for them, they end their season at the Parc des Princes with what will be a curtain raiser before the champions play in the Champions League final. Congratulations PSG for beating Arsenal, of course. Hamza Al-Jadira was not in the squad for Lens in their draw against Toulouse on Saturday. Let's see if he could play in their final game of the season against Monaco. Terry Murphy was on the bench for Nice in their 2-0 loss to Rennes. They are also in the mix for Champions League qualification, of course, and they end their season against Brest at home on Saturday, who of course played in the Champions League this season. A win should secure Champions League qualification playoffs because they're currently 4th. A draw or loss could see them drop, so watch this space, and hopefully Murphy could get some game time. In Turkey, Victor Osimhen was in action yet again as Galatasaray inch closer to the champions, to the title. They beat Trabzonspor 2-0 on Saturday. Osimhen with the all-around good performance, but he did not score, which is pretty rare. Morata scored a good goal to clinch the winner in this one. So next up for them, they played Trabzonspor in the Turkish Cup final on Wednesday. Osimhen will get a chance to add to his silverware collection, and as he's about to build his legend as a one-season legend for Galatasaray. So watch this space. So that's the 6:45 p.m. on Wednesday, and then they play Hatayspor at home on Sunday 5 p.m. and a win will secure the league title for Galatasaray. So good luck to Victor Osimhen. We're very proud of you, and hopefully bigger and better things. I've seen a rumor about Juventus coming in for him. As long as Osimhen is back playing for one of the top clubs in Europe, that will make me happy. But he definitely has to do it. Look, if he goes to Saudi and takes the money, look, it's his money. He has to do what he has to do. But I want to see him either in the Premier League or playing for Juventus or a PSG or one of the big boys is my whole point. So watch this space. Osay Samo played 45 minutes for Fenerbahce as they beat Istanbul Basaksehir 4-1 on Friday, consolidating 2nd place, which will also give them a Champions League spot, at least qualification spot. I'm sure of that. So next up for them, they play Sport at home on Sunday. Anthony Dennis played 90 minutes for Giuseppe in their draw against Hatayspor. Next up for them, they play Rizespor away on Sunday. And then in the Belgian league, we saw Tolera Kadari's Genk. He played 6-7 minutes as Genk lost 2-0 to Club Brugge on Sunday. Unfortunately, they're now out of title contention with that loss. There's only 2 games to go, but they now just need to consolidate third place, which I think still gives them a spot in Europe. At the very least, the Europa League. And they'll be playing Jordan Torunariga's Ghent on Sunday. Arokodare is also no longer the top goal scorer, but we wish him well as he tries to end the season. Torunariga, on the other hand, did not play for Ghent. Their lost to Royal Antwerp on Sunday. So let's see if he plays against Genk on Sunday. Positive news though, Rafael Yedika's Club Brugge. They beat Genk 2-0 on Sunday because, Club Brugge are the big bad bullies of Belgium. And next up for them, they play Anderlecht away on Sunday. It's very interesting because they're only 1 point behind Union Saint-Gilloise. So it's a straight shootout between Union Saint-Gilloise and Club Brugge for the Belgian title. Fun fact about Union Saint-Gilloise, they're owned by Brighton's owner, Tony Bloom. I think he's no longer the big controlling owner, but basically there's a reason why you see these teams being amazing at analytics, scouting the right players, making the right decisions. Union Saint-Gilloise is where Boniface came from. 10 years ago, they were nowhere. This is a club that has no right to be competing for the Belgian Championship. It's just an amazing story. Honestly, if you really love football and widening your scope outside of the top 5 leagues, just Google Union Saint-Gilloise. Watch their Copa 90 documentaries. Just an amazing job. But anyway, as a Nigerian, we're rooting for Yedika. Let him get yet another title behind on his belt. And then he's another one to monitor for the summer. In Greece, Onyemachi played 28 minutes for Olympiacos in their 1-0 win over Panathinaikos. It was the curtain raiser before they played the Greek Cup final, which will take place on Saturday against OFI Crete. Imagine Onyemachi moved there in January and he's going to end up with 2 titles. I love it for you, Onyemachi, please, because right now you're the best left back we have in the national team, and I want to see this continue, so shout out to you. I already spoke about Cyril Dez's exploits and scoring for the 3rd game consecutively. Also, I want to shout out Leon Balogun. He's been starting games for Rangers and playing very, very well. There's no reason he should be excluded for calling out the NFF for being useless. If it's based on form, Leon Balogun should be back in the national team squad. It's not like Ahmed Musa that is in Nigeria and politicking. This is a player that we are seeing the evidence in Europe. So shout out to Leon Balogun. Anyway, next up, they play Dundee United at home on Wednesday. And then they end the season away at Hibernian for the season. So watch out for that space. Finally, Stein Wabali played 19 minutes for Chippa United as they lost 3-0 to the best team in South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns. He made a very terrible mistake, man. Like, if you see the second goal Mamelodi Sundowns scored, it was an indirect free kick. They crossed the ball. He tried to punch the ball, and he just punched it literally into the front of his goal. And the Mamelodi Sundowns player just slapped into the net. But he's lucky he plays in Scotland because nobody sees his mistakes and no one sees Maduka's exploits. But look, he's done nothing wrong, so Nabali is still first choice, but let's stop kidding ourselves. Maduka Okoye cannot be starting games in a top 5 league, and everybody's still judging him for something that happened 3.5 years ago. Let's open our eyes. There is no competent national team or coach in club football that will tell you Stein Nabali is a better goalkeeper than Maduka Okoye. Yes, maybe presence of mind makes him more calm, and he has credit in the bank from AFCON. But we need to get serious, my people. Anyway, that's it in terms of the updates. Bit of a long one, but it's always a joy bringing this content to you.